baby. Let's go. That's what I'm talking.
All right, what's up, y'all? We are doing a little bit different style video. We're gonna do some driving around in my 06 Dodge 3500 with a second gen swap. It's kind of a cool truck. It was a storm truck, currently is a storm truck. We got it loaded up to do some storm work. Thankfully, the Carolina coast didn't get destroyed, so really not much work, but we got a beautiful day, so I figured we'd drive around. I've had a bunch of people comment and DM me about this truck since I started putting it on my YouTube videos, and I like it. My daily, I kind of hot rodded around. Currently doesn't tow well. I've tried to haul my race trailer with it, and it ended terribly. We'll pop the hood and give you guys a little preview what we got going on. I don't have like the whole rundown on this in front of me, but I can give you guys a basic preview. I've mentioned it on the channel before. So here it is. It is a 5.9 Cummins with a second gen swap. For those of you guys that don't know what the second gen swap is, you put like you put a Borg Warner turbo on it. This is an S400. This is S464 from Force Induction, so it's a pretty healthy size turbo. We got some BBI like 1.5 level injectors, so I think they're like 100 over injectors. We got the Banks Monster Ram. I put that on there solely for appearance because I think it looks good. Got the Whirly Fab kit. Everything's powder coated red. We got a fleece cylinder head on it. It's like their fleece like street. It's like they're hopped up. It's got different valve springs on there. We got a stroker CP3 pump on there. It's a 10mm stroker. It's got a bunch of like little odds and ends stuff. It's got a lift pump on there. Air Dog Fast. I don't know what it is. I haven't really looked at it. It's under there on the frame rail. But the truck runs pretty good. Turned all up, makes like 700 horsepower. It's pretty sporty. It is a manual truck. It's got a twin disc clutch in there, South Bend twin disc. Other than that, like stock intercooler. I don't know if it's considered pretty basic or not. It's got the head studs on there, all that fun stuff. I need to do a billet valve cover because this valve cover just isn't flashy enough for what we have going on. I think just like a billet aluminum one would look good, but for right now, I mean, this is cleaned up. It's pretty nice. It's got some like the little odds and ends stuff, like the coolant bypass. I guess these engines are known to have the back two cylinders run hot, so the coolant bypass like reroutes it and it doesn't really run that hot. Let's see, other than that, it's like pretty straightforward. I am not a big diesel guy. I don't really know a lot about the diesel stuff. So as far as like tuning goes and all of that stuff, I don't really know like what it should be, like a race car or like a high performance street car. I could tell you if it's like tuned shitty because I've driven a bunch of cars that are tuned good and tuned bad, and we've made modifications, so I could tell you like which is what, like what is what works well, what doesn't. This stuff, I have some questions and concerns, and I hope people in the diesel community can enlighten me before I do hours of research. So I'm super happy with the kit. I probably put like 3,000 or 4,000 miles on it already. I got like some slight complaints, but I don't know if they're like legitimate complaints. Again, I'm not like a big diesel guy, especially a big diesel performance guy. I have like 4 or 5 diesel trucks, 6.7 Power Stroke, which I love that. I mean, that thing it's bone stock. I got a 6.7 Cummins, which I love that. And then I got a 7.3 truck, which, I mean, I got like one of every motor, and they all seem to run pretty good. This is my only performance build, and I would like to tow with it more, but I don't. I tried to tow with it once, and the EGTs were through the roof. So we'll shut this. The interior on this thing is pretty basic. Cloth seats. Looks like a dog mauled this. So welcome to every Dodge, or honestly any work truck at this point. I got all my storm stuff in the back. It's not a mega cab, it's like a half cab, so this is what they did back in 06. Sitting in the back seat is really not all that enjoyable. Like I said, manual, twin disc clutch. We'll fire it up and go for a little drive. You guys can, I've been driving it around like turned up, thing hauls ass. I don't do it too often. It needs an alignment, so the wheel's kind of off. I'm getting all the Cummins stuff, sorry, I shouldn't say the Cummins stuff, all the Dodge stuff that I do, they're known to throw the transfer case out of it, chunk the front drive shaft, tear up a bunch of shit, so they make a free spin hub that goes in there, and it pretty much converts it over to like a Ford style where you got a locking hub, so you can unlock them and then not have the front drive shaft and transfer case spinning. All the storm stuff we do, we're usually traveling from North Carolina to Florida to Maine to Connecticut, all over the place, a lot of highway miles, so I put those hubs in and I eliminate, you know, that front drive shaft spinning, the transfer case spinning all the time. So this thing here, low gear whenever we're hauling stuff, but second gear, you can honestly leave in third a lot of times. The truck runs quite well, I would say. sounds pretty good. I pretty much did this because I had the injectors go out in it, and I was like, well, if I got to put injectors in it, might as well put a new turbo on there. Started doing some research. The second gen swap stuff sounds cool, so I was like, we need to do a second gen swap, and I'm relatively happy with it. It does run a whole lot smoother since we put that head on, did the valve adjustment, new injectors. I mean, the motor itself runs substantially smoother. I got the little edge up here where it tells me my EGTs. That's like one thing that I'm monitoring pretty heavily. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. Second gear's still pretty short. Don't really hear the turbo much. You're like big toeing into it. We're on tune 3 right now, so as far as power goes, it's tough to really say how much power it is. A little bit of a bumpy ride. A dually from 06. Not gonna ride smooth. Turbo sounds good. I wish the turbo was a little bit louder. Not really like, all I know is drag race performance. So I run a forced induction turbo on everything. I run a Hartz turbo on one of my cars. I'm happy with them. So I went back with the forced inductions because I knew he made a turbo specifically for like the second gen swap stuff. We had the discussion between a 64 or 67 millimeter, being that it was a 5.9, went with a 64 also to manual. So everyone knows the Dodge transmissions suck. So I'm not trying to break the input shaft. I guess the manual transmissions, everybody's known to break the input shafts on them. So sounds pretty good. I mean, I think it sounds cool. It runs good. Tune-up wise though, my one complaint is that like the boost comes in super hard, right? And I don't know if this is like normal or what. I'm trying to slow down here a little bit. When the boost, like when you're pulling off like second gear, not so much, third and fourth gear, it's like it's building boost, and then all of a sudden it goes from like 10 to 30, and you're driving, and you're just like, bam, head hits the back of the seat, and you're just like, well, I didn't mean to do that because you're only giving it like 25% throttle. This is fifth, so it still does it a little bit there. I'm like 25%, 30% throttle. I'm not in it that far, and it's the same from 30% to 100%. So drivability wise, I guess that's like my slight complaint, is you'd think that it would be smoother, especially when you're not in it. And again, this is like the first tune-up on the truck. Like, we haven't done any revisions or anything. I get a check engine light every once in a while for something to do with fuel rail pressure or something, or I don't know. I haven't even looked at it, to be honest with you. It pops up, I keep driving. But EGTs, I tried to do some research on them. They say all the factory stuff, when you get into like the 1400 and the EGTs, that's pretty sporty. But then like the high performance stuff, they're like, oh, 1700, that's when it's pretty sporty. So it's a stock bottom end 5.9 with just a different head on it. So do you consider that factory, or do you consider that high performance? I mean, I don't know, you tell me. I would consider that factory, being that it's a factory piston. And I mean, if it wasn't designed for that super hot EGT, then that's where it might be. I'm barely in the throttle on that. I wish I had like TPS up there so you guys could see it. I only floor this thing like a few times. Being that it's a manual, it's tough to actually go fast. The transmission feels like it's out of a dump truck because it's probably what its intended purpose was. So it's not like you're driving a, you know, T56 car where you could like easily slam gears or power shift it. I mean, you're just like, I just granny shift it, and I mean, I'm just trying to keep it one piece. So normal driving, I mean, it's pretty good. We'll see if we can get it to like do the aggressive, unexpected acceleration. Not enough load in second gear to do it. Third gear, I mean, just kind of like that, just makes like 30 pounds, and I'm like not even in the throttle. There it is, right there. There it is. I'm not in the throttle any. I'm not in the throttle any, and that thing is taking off. And it can be a slight inconvenience when you have like a drink in your hand or someone's riding with you and they're trying to eat something and you're just trying to pull off from a stoplight and you're like shoving a cheeseburger down their throat. So I would assume it probably has something to do with the tuning. Also, like, I don't know, is that fuel knock? Well, I don't know. I don't know the diesel stuff. I don't claim to know the diesel stuff. There's my check engine, bro. You can't make this shit up. There's the check engine light. Just keep driving, pretend like nothing happened. Again, very early. I'm not talking smack on anyone. I don't understand the diesel stuff, so I'm trying to understand it. On the highway, no load, going like 70, 75. EGTs are like 1,000, 1,100, consistent. Now, I don't know, like in my mind, you know, you put an intercooler on it, that doesn't lower the EGTs because that's on the charge side, not on the exhaust side. So water meth, I've done some research, people do water meth, but I can't imagine, like I'd have to have a transfer tank full of water meth just to be spraying in there to keep it cool. I like the sound though. I did it for the sound. It's fun. It's a good conversation piece. I'm happy with it. I highly recommend the second gen swap. I have a 4th gen Dodge which has the ASIN. It's got the VGT turbo. If that goes out, we're doing a second gen swap on that. But that one has to be able to tow. And I know that people can do the second gen swap and still tow with it because that's pretty common on the cabin chassis trucks like I have, where they have to replace the cylinder head and then guys do the manifold and do the turbo and do all that stuff. So something I'm looking into, definitely looking into a good towing package with the S400 swap. I think that'd be good. Let's turn around here. But for those of you guys that are interested in like doing a second gen swap, I would say like definitely do it. 100%. Sounds cool. Way more enjoyable to drive. Don't judge me on like my shifts because I'm not trying to shift fast. All right. I mean, my perception of speed and fast is skewed because I drive a bunch of race cars, but I mean, for a big ass dually truck, I mean, that thing kind of hauls ass. I'm happy. That's on tune 3 out of 5. 5 is ridiculous. If you put it on tune 5, third gear, you floor it, it spins the tires. So I stay off of that because I'm not trying to break a drive shaft, break a transmission, or anything like that. I'm happy with it though. I think there's some room for improvement, and over time, just like anything else, you know, just like tuning a race car, the more time you get on it, the more data logs you get, the more dialed you can get it in. This is no different whatsoever. And this is like the first tune-up out the box. I'm supposed to send revisions in, which we haven't done any of that. I pretty much don't handle any of that. I just drop the truck off and let that be done. 200,000 mile motor though, runs good. Run that Schaefer's oil in there, so gotta love Schaefer's oil. You really can't beat it. If you guys aren't running their oil in your race cars, your trucks, your big trucks, your equipment, their grease is badass. Highly recommend it. So I guess, like, in closing here, this is what it's like to drive around a 700 horsepower second gen swap Cummins. It's pretty fun. I enjoy it. Sounds good. You pop the hood, it looks badass. I'd like to improve on like the drivability tune of it, and if it's possible to tow, which I don't know if it's injector timing or just how big the injector is, just the amount of fuel that makes it not towable. I don't know. I mean, someone that's got extensive diesel knowledge, please comment down below and school me on this stuff. I'm an open book. I can go ahead and do the research, but if you guys just tell me, I'm all ears, you know? This is not my specialty. If you want to build something that makes like 4,000 horsepower, you call me up and I got you straight. But making 700 horsepower in a diesel truck, ain't got a clue, and I'll tell you that. So, yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. If I were to rate it on a 1 to 10 scale, I do everything on 1 to 10 scale. I feel like that's the most like quantifiable scale there is. I would give this a solid, just on the truck scale, I give it a solid 7. It's enjoyable, it's fun. Not super practical since I can't tow with it, but I didn't really expect to tow with it a whole lot. This is like my daily. Sound though, give it a 9 out of 10 because it sounds cool. When you're cruising on the highway and that turbo's just making like 10, 11 pounds the whole time, like right there, it sounds good. Sounds badass. It's tough to beat that sound, it really is. And this is through a 4-inch exhaust. So imagine that thing through a 5-inch exhaust. I wouldn't have any eardrums left and you guys wouldn't be able to hear a word I'm saying. If you guys have any critiques on my driving, you can drive to my shop in Benson, North Carolina and kiss my ass because I'm just driving a truck on the street. I know someone in the comments can be like, man, you need to learn how to drive that thing. You ain't double clutching. Why are you using the clutch to shift? Like, you don't, I don't know, just because I like to. There, I didn't use the clutch to shift. I satisfied you in this video. I'm all about, that's what I'm all about.
What do you mean by that?
Here, I'll do like a 5th gear pull once you get over the railroad tracks and just let this dog hunt. I'll turn it up to 4. All right, turned it up to 4. Just roll and call. Not bad. Not bad. I feel like if I had to race like a Dodge Challenger on the highway, like we're on the highway, he pulls up, wants some smoke, I feel like I'd bust his ass. I'd probably turn it up to 5 because I'm not gonna lose, and then I feel like we would absolutely bust his ass. Like a 5th, 6th gear pull, done. Dude ain't got no chance. Taking that shit to CarMax, dropping that off, getting probably like, I don't know, a damn Honda, and just gonna like tone it down and just do like front wheel drive shit with Phil. I mean, that's all I can say. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. Just wanted to do a little cruise, what it's like to drive around in a 700 horsepower 2nd gen swap 5.9 Cummins. It's pretty fun. I want to give a shout out to all the companies that helped me out on this build, which is Force Inductions. They're actually the only company that worked with me on this build. So shout out to Jose at Force Inductions. Hit them up for all your turbos. And then I'd like to thank me because I paid for the rest of it. So I don't have to thank anyone else. So shout out to Force Inductions. They always get me straight on all that stuff. And yeah, shout out to John Dock Recovery because this was going to be a work truck and then I ruined it. So shout out to me, John Dock Recovery, and Force Inductions. If you guys are interested in doing storm work and having a truck just like this, which you can, I got a couple guys that work for me. They got 2nd gen swap Cummins. Send me an email, johndockerrecovery@gmail.com, and we'll get you out there, put some money in your pocket. So that's going to wrap it up. If you guys like these head-mounted videos, we could do more of these. Just get with me and, you know, comment section below. Just be like, hey, man, we like those. Maybe I'll do it's like drive around a 1,600 horsepower New Edge twin turbo Mustang because I got one of those. And thank you guys for watching. Like always, comment, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next upload.